Okay, we can start. I hope you had a nice lunch. By the way, we have a vegan catering, so we're very sustainable. And also you had, also a coffee, so you can be active and ask many questions because as the previous sessions, we have Slido. It's the same link. I'll be check. This is going to be a very interactive. I want to make it a very interactive session. So I will be checking Slido every now and then. And if you have any question, comment, reaction, anything, feedback, feel free to write them in Slido, and I'll make sure I'll try to integrate you as much as possible. But back to our panelists. So we have the pleasure to have here with us Gabor Orban, which is the CEO of MVM Partner, and Eszter Zekeres, I hope I pronounce it well, the CEO of MED Hungary. So I'm going to let you tell you about your company and what you do, but just want to highlight the fact that we have in this room people with more than 10, 15 years of experience in the energy markets, and people that are leading, they're taking decisions and leading the strategy of their own company. So you have a lot of pressure on you as well.
No, that's not true.
No. But we are very interesting to understand a bit what's the daily life of a CEO, what kind of decision you have to make, and how can you accelerate the transition of your company, because we need to decarbonize by 2050. There's not an option, and it's just about how do we do it faster, and how do we do it that is consumers pays the less cost, and we can do it at the optimal in the optimal way for the society. So I'll leave the floor to Gabor first. Gabor has a presentation, and then I'll leave the floor to Eszter, and so you can tell more about yourself, about MED afterwards. Actually, would you like to say something before anything? No. Okay. Straight. Oh, perfect. Applause. We can actually turn it. Yeah. We have a pointer. A pointer over there.
Okay. I see it. No problem.
Okay, no problem.
So, thank you for the invitation. It's really, I'm very glad to be here, and I hope that these few slides will be interesting for you because.
In the microphone.
Okay. Because when I participated in the presentations, it was very interesting for me. But honestly speaking, how you see the future and how you see the problems and how me as a CEO see the future and the problems, it's a little bit different, and you will understand why. First of all, just a quick presentation of my company, MVM Group. We are a Hungarian utility company. We cover nearly all the fields of the energy sector. We have a strong generation part. We have a nuclear power plant called Paks, several conventional power plants, gas-fired and coal-fired also. And we're building up a huge renewables portfolio, and we have present in district heating. We cover the infrastructure, of course. We manage the electricity transmission and distribution system of Hungary. We have natural gas distribution companies, and we manage both the power and the natural gas exchanges here in Hungary. We own the biggest Hungarian gas storage company, and of course we are strong presence in retail and consumer service, both in trading, wholesale, and small sale also. And we have a huge international presentation. It's our ambitions to be not only a Hungarian utility company, but a regional player. We have a leading position in the Czech natural market. And we have several portfolio elements, the neighboring countries. and we have some other fields we cover, for example, engineering, which is also can be interesting for the future. So that's the big picture of MVM Group, and I'm responsible for the power trading and wholesale company called MVM Partner. When I prepared for the presentation, my first thought was to find the starting point. And what is the starting point for me, which the first step I can tell the storyline of the electricity market. And the basis, the 0 point, is this Renewable Energy Directive, which is the first step where all the traders and the wholesale companies like MVM Group started to reshape its business strategy, because the EU aim to increase the renewables target more than 40%, 42.5%, or aspiration to reach 45%. And all the countries are following this energy directive. If you see the right hand, what is the expectation for the Hungarian market? The expectations are for extremely high growth. Right now, the size of the Hungarian power market is 44 terawatt hours and expected to increase to 61. And if you look what is the main driver behind of this growth, the first is the significant PV capacity growth. We want to build new gas-fired power plants, and we want to phase out the coal-fired plant. And that is how our everyday life is going around, to increase the renewables, find the balancing capacities which can balance the renewables, and phase out which is old and not in line with this Renewable Energy Directive, namely the coal-fired power plant. Okay, and if you look how the expectations are related to the European power market, you can see the growth is extremely high, the expected growth. It's said to be more than 400 terawatt hours will be the additional growth by 2030. 60% of which is the baseline and 40% is at risk. But if you put together the numbers, the expectations regarding the growth extremely high for all the European market and for the Hungarian market also. And the challenges. The main challenge is what here in Hungary we suffer a lot, is called the PV cannibalization effect. I know that it's not a, how can I say, very happy part of the renewables, but when we speak about how we can increase our renewable capacities, there are several side effects. And one side effect is this PV cannibalization. During the daylight hours, these solar power plants with low short-run marginal cost, effectively zero, drives the market, which means all the other plants which has more than zero variable cost price out from the market. And it is really a problem, because on the one side, during the peak hours, the power prices go to zero or below zero. And because the prices are extremely low, sometimes negative, the expected rate of return of not only the PVs, but the old investments are decreasing. So right now, it's very hard to imagine who can invest in these capacities, because the expected rate of return is very low. So that is the cannibalization effect. And just a few numbers, how fast it happens. When we want to make understood this effect, we always show the peak hours and the base hours difference. It's a relative price difference. And during the last 50 years, it was a common sense that during the peak hours, the power is more expensive than the off-peak hours. And during the last 3 or 4 years, this trend has been changed. And you can see the numbers. In the middle of the year, the Hungarian peak hours are sometimes 55%, sometimes 85%, and it means that during the peak hours, it's much cheaper, the price of the power, than the off-peak hours, and it's really a huge problem for us. So by 2045, what we can expect from the market? My first thought, it will be the market. I mean, will be driven by renewables. If you remember numbers, it looks like 60% or 75% of the capacities will be somehow connected to renewables. All the conventional capacities will decrease and renewables will increase. That is point one. Second, it will be a very decentralized energy system, which means that all the households, or most of them, will have a PV, they will have energy battery, there will be a heating pump, and hopefully they can make a local community to manage the energy consumption together. It will be a very decentralized energy system. During the last 15 years, it was a very centralized energy system. And the problem is, because of this decentralized energy system, the balancing need is increasing. A lot of energy storages will be needed to balance the difference between the supply and the demand. And how can we balance, how can we optimize this difference based on data? The digital transformation will be the main phenomena. We have to understand the data, we have to collect the data, we have to understand it, and we have to make decisions based on it. The digital transformation is the most, how can I say, viable effect of this trend. The next is the peer-to-peer energy trading. Somehow this all the buyers go to the market, all the sellers go to the market, and the market gives the price signals. It's a little bit over. Because of the last 2 years tendencies, this peer-to-peer energy trading, that you can trade your differences between each other, or your households can trade your difference with each other, is getting more and more viable. And all the politicians, for example in Hungary, are working hard on it to make it more, how can I say, household friendly to join this kind of system. And that's why the system flexibility and stability increases. Honestly speaking, because of the decentralized system, the probability of the blackouts and the problems are increasing. And how can we reduce it? If we invest a lot of money into flexibility and into grids to keep the stability. Okay? And there was one request to speak about one slide about the demand side flexibility resources. I know it's one of your main topic. You can read all the buzzwords here on the slide, but one interesting comment that in the real life right now, it does not look like a working one. In Hungary, a lot of big customers, I mean big industrial customers, were interested in this demand-side flexibility only when the prices were above 300 euro per megawatt hour. Only. When the price is reduced, they step back because they could manage the production only if the prices are extremely high. Otherwise, they say that it's only a cost effect and we can keep it in our cost structure and push it through to the customers. So right now, in the real life, this demand side flexibility in the first phase, or let's see what will happen in the future. Okay. That's all for the opening, and let's see the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabor. Perfect. So thank you for your snapshot on both the Hungarian electricity market and also what we can expect in the future. And now the floor goes to Esther. You can decide if you want to sit down or stand up. Flexibility for today.
That's good. So. That's good. I like it. I'm very honored to be here. I didn't bring you a presentation, but instead, I brought you some questions. Because I think we are ahead of the biggest challenge of the energy markets, and I would like to discuss these questions today with you. Because I'm very, very curious what and how you are thinking about these questions. Because I do believe that, unfortunately, the market, how we are thinking about the future, is behind how you are thinking. Therefore, I'm curious about your opinions, because sometimes I feel that we are stuck into the past. Why do I say so? Several years ago, the future challenges were already knocking on our doors. We started to talk about them on conferences, on different platforms. But then came the energy crisis. And the whole energy market actually went into a crisis mode for roughly 2 years and did not talk and did not think about the future at all. Just some weeks ago, we had a conference somewhere along the Danube in the city. And I just realized during that conference that finally we are talking about future questions and not about the questions of the past, which is a very, very good thing. But we are on the very beginning of this road. And I feel that all the stakeholders and all the participants started to talk about these questions one by one, but we don't have an integrated view how to solve the future. And if we are talking about Europe and not just about Hungary, I think the biggest problem in Europe is the import dependency of energy resources, natural gas and power. And when we are talking about renewables, renewables are the future, not just because that they are green, but because they are decreasing import dependency in Europe. And I think that this is the key, how we will change this, because to be honest, the energy industry have partial answers today to these questions. Just some words about the company where I'm coming from. I would like to share some anecdotes. When I started in 2008, we were roughly 10, 20 of us in one location. Today, sometimes in August, we actually reached and we have our 1,000th employee in the company and group-wide. I'm not talking about my organization. And from one country now we are in 17, based in 17 different countries. And we are active in natural gas trading, also for end customers and for our partners. We are also active in the power business, and we are slowly turning and increasing to the renewables. So, let's begin.
Ooh. Thank you. Thank you. Applause. Yes. Okay, so you said something. We are slowly transitioning towards renewables. I mean, I understand how big companies can take time to adapt. I mean, you cannot just change from the night to the day. You, of course, need to bring everyone on board, and still companies, you need to deliver profits because you need to keep also the board happy and the shareholders happy. And one of the challenges of achieving carbon neutrality is a bit the unpredictability. We don't really know what's going to happen in the future. And my question would be, what is your strategy? What are the main challenges for shifting your portfolio to renewables and low carbon technologies? And what are your strategies? Is there any specific best practice that energy companies can look for in doing this transition?
We invest a lot in renewables. Just a few numbers that right now we manage 4,300 megawatt as a capacity, and approximately 50% comes from our Paks nuclear power plant. And last year the group changed its strategy dramatically, and the aim is to counterbalance the traditional sources with renewables. So during the next 5-10 years, we want to increase the renewables to 3,000 megawatt, which is 1.5 higher than the nuclear. So you can imagine how big shift it is. And of course, we want to widespread not only the PVs by the wind and the hydro also, and we invest a lot in energy storages, which also a need to counterbalance this PV effect, as I show you in the PV cannibalization slide. So the main phenomena is to invest.
I would a little bit not change this picture, just add some more details. When the prices are above 100, let's talk about baseload power prices, or above 200, above 250, that's a very, very different decision to invest into PVs, because it's out of question that if you can hedge it, that it will return. In the days when during the summer we see prices during the day at minus and negative prices, after the sun goes down, we see prices above 1,000 within one day. And the forward prices are actually currently more or less at or below return rates. So, if we are talking about renewables, currently they are out of money. In order to invest into renewables, these decisions are out of money today. And actually, the very interesting and problematic question, in normal circumstances, normal market circumstances, these investments are out of the money. But because it's the case, this is building in the next crisis. Because we are, again, at the very same high import dependency. We are not decreasing it because the whole mess doesn't come together. Therefore, automatically, if there will be any crisis, I know, wherever in the world, it will come into Europe. So, you know, you see the paradox situation in this. What we have as a strategy, whatever money, what we actually make in the traditional businesses, we start to use as capex and invest into renewables when it makes sense.
Could you elaborate a bit more when you said it's out of money? Like what are the implications for the future? Do you mean that now we will see a decrease in the investment in renewables?
Yes, definitely. Okay. We are also a lot of investments, for example, with bigger companies are building or started to build their own PVs in order to decrease their dependency on the power prices. Now, most of these investment decisions are not happening, delayed, rejected, so these investments are not happening. What actually currently the country needs, and also other countries, for example, Germany with the wind and the power has a very, very similar situation, that regulation needs to come in, and we will talk about it, I know, demand-side management and demand-side regulation needs to come in.
Okay. I mean, I would like to be a bit more positive about the future, but maybe just for, I work in Brussels, and beginning of the year there was approved a new reform of the energy market design, and right now in this moment we have the appointment of the new commissioners, and the hearings will take place in the next weeks. So if you're interested, you can have a look at the Parliament website, and you can actually see the commissioners responding to the question to the member of the European Parliament. And that's a very interesting, I think, discussion, because you see how they address the questions and the challenges that the Parliament posed to the Commission. And we're going to have a new Commissioner for Energy and Housing. So I encourage you to have a look at the hearings. And also part of this, so let's talk about supports for renewables, okay? Because we were talking about it yesterday, like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody would have bet anything on solar, and now is the cheapest technology. Like every 20 years ago, 25 years ago, all the consultants would say, wind is the future. Now wind and solar, and together with other technologies, are the future. We don't have a silver bullet. And you said about regulation, something about regulation. So where do you see the role of governments in supporting this? There are some mechanisms. One is called power purchase agreements. One is called contract for differences. So how do you see this support mechanism? And how can they support also your work in actually installing renewables? Because that's the job of the energy companies, providing energy, electricity, possibly renewable and low carbon. But how do you see these support mechanisms kicking in and supporting the transition?
Yes, in Hungary we have very strange and old Hungarian system. It's a kind of state aid. That is the obligatory overtaking system, which means that the production from the PVs from a different period of time is off-taken by the TSO, the MOVIR, and the price of it, it's not the market price, but the compensated price by the state. So when you remember what Esther told you, that all the PVs and the renewables are out of market, yes, that's true, only for that type of renewables which was built on own decision to the liberalized market. But the reality is that the states supporting not only building, I mean the investment side, but the management, the OPEX side also. That's why it makes sense, makes sense, and it's real business decision. Where can you find these niches when you get enough support from the state, first for your investment, and second for your management, your commercial management, for example, taking part in the state aid system to help to increase your investment, the rate of return you can expect. So the real life is a little bit complicated, because not only free market, not totally state distribution or state hub market exists, but a kind of mixture of it. And the question is, where can you find your niches when it can help you to make your investment business perspective reliable?
There is a very, very clear signal that everybody understands. It's a very simple thing. Does anybody know what I'm thinking about? What's the word that I'm thinking about? What's the signal that everybody understands in the economics world how to behave? Price.
Yeah.
Price. The customers, the consumers needs to be exposed to the market price. If they are not facing the market price, they will actually make their decisions on the distorted, regulated price. If you don't see that you go home at 8 o'clock and then you start to use your washing machine, you start to watch the football match, and you put your car on the charger, and you don't see the impact that you are doing it when the price is at 1,000, instead of doing it, I know that everybody is at work, but you can put your phone to the charger, not during night, but also in the office, when the price is negative. It's very, very simple examples. But at the end of the day, in Hungary, we are not able to manage more PVs without changing our customer and consumer habits. And how it could be achieved? via price. We have to expose, in a simplified way, but we have to expose the customers and the consumers to the market price. Actually, we have a customer. They faced this whole turbulence during the summer. And actually, they called in and asked that, could you give us a fixed price? And we are very happy to see that, for example, during the sunny hours, it's different than during night. We said that finally, we are there. They are actually rescheduling the shifts in the factory, and they are stopping and canceling night shifts and putting more to the daily shifts, when actually the prices are so cheap that they are able to actually achieve more profit via this way.
Okay, thanks. So I see there's need to have price signals on both sides. So on both from, okay, we need to support technologies, renewable technologies to develop, but at the same time, you also kind of have to support consumers in seeing the prices and seeing how market works. But of course, we need to support also vulnerable consumers. So there must be some programs to protect consumers. So we have seen what happened 2 years ago when there was really the gas price increased because of Russian invasion to Ukraine, and in some countries in which consumers, for example, Spain and Italy, they really were faced with very, very big prices. So I agree, personal opinion here, I agree we need to expose consumers to the prices. At the same time, we also need to protect the ones that
I fully agree with you, and I don't say to apply it to everybody from tomorrow and change, because I know that's impossible, that's not realistic. But start to move into that direction. And the PVs should face that during daytime, sometimes it's negative to produce. They should be able to stop and cancel production during those hours when the prices are negative. Yes, there is a question.
I have a question. Oh, okay.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks a lot. Actually, I have multiple questions. So, actually, the DSO is legally, depends on the campus, but they can curtail the PV, right? So, to ensure that the grid is stable. So, this already exists somehow. And like the biphasic or triphasic systems already kind of shifts a bit. Not ideally, but yeah. But my main question was actually on the incentives for other renewables. So actually, I see a lot of support from the European Union on other type of renewables that are not solar or wind. And I also see that the guarantees of origin are being reduced to 3 months, which is a clear signal that we need to produce renewables in winter. So don't you think there is already a regulatory framework that promotes this type of behavior that you're talking about?
Yes, and I will give the word soon to Gabor. Finally, there is a change in that one, because in the past couple of years, it was almost not even allowed to talk about wind as renewable, and everybody was talking about PV. And now we are full of PVs. That's, fully full. Wind is now coming. Unfortunately, there were very small parts of Hungary where it makes sense, because wind should be blowing in order to make sense. We don't really have hydro, so that's kind of out. So wind is the next one. And now I give the word to Gabor, because he will know more.
Yes, this PV problem, I think the biggest here in Hungary. So if you look around the other countries in the EU, the renewables portfolio are more balanced. In Hungary, we can say almost 100% of the renewable are PVs. The problem is that we do not have high mountains, so the hydro is not an option for us, and the wind is limited. But somehow the regulators saw the PV is the easiest way to reach the decarbonization target of the country. The problem is that the effect of the PVs will be much higher than they previously thought. And that time it was really not a question that if we can invest in PV, because it's 100% renewable and it's cheap and you can do it at home. You cannot build a hydro at home, you cannot build a wind turbine at home, but you can build a PV at home. It's so simple. it's understandable for the everyday people, and they supported it. And it was really a flood. So I mean that you can't imagine that how the Hungarian average customer is depending on the PV, because it's not only a renewable, sometimes it's a status symbol, sometimes it's a kind of not only an investment, but a kind of distribution from the state, because you receive back money. So it's a complex system, and right now we are suffering regarding the prices, the side effects of this only PV strategy.
We have a question over there. Wait for the microphone.
Yeah, just to add on to that question, also, what about the PAX2 project regarding the nuclear power plant that has been sanctioned? So how is that adding to the energy mix of Hungary? Any comments on that?
Which one? Because the PAX1 is currently existing, the PAX2, the PAX2. It's a difficult question, and it does not belong to the MVM portfolio. So it's, how can I say, it's not an official point of view of MVM, it's my personal point of view. But you know, it's a very Russian investment heavy project, and that time when it was allowed by the EU, there was a political agreement that the infrastructure will be Russian and all the other stuff will be German, and it would be a, how can I say, a compromise, which was destroyed by this invasion of Ukraine. So honestly speaking, it's moving forward, but very slowly because of the political circumstances.
Okay, and just a follow-up question to that, and any points on like small modular reactors, because now from the European Commission as well, they have an industry alliance with all the European member states regarding, so is Hungary planning on to stepping onto small modular reactors since you already have PAX1 and perhaps PAX2 in some years?
It's a very interesting question because this SMR technology is a very new phenomenon. And I know that MVM Group is thinking about it, but honestly, there is only 1 or 2 currently existing SMRs over the world. So I don't think Hungary will be the third one who will use it. But let's see what happens, and we keep the option open. But on the other hand, with PAX1 and PAX2, I think we have enough nuclears. So.
Great, thank you.
So I have a lot of questions on demand response and consumers, but before we go there, there is a question that a lot of votes, and is also another pressing issue, which is raw materials for renewables. And of course, we all like renewables because they're clean, they reduce the import, and but we are shifting from maybe to another dependence, which is on materials to produce renewables. My understanding is that most of the PVs come from China. And I was wondering, like, from a business point of view, is this something that concerns you? Are you diversifying your suppliers? How is it going to affect also your business in the future? Or can we expect Europe to catch up with China and to actually have a PVs production in loco?
I don't think so. Very easy answer. Because the price of actually the raw materials and of human resources very, very different. Therefore, I don't really expect that Europe will come up in this regard. Until now, we didn't have an issue with this. To be honest, on the whole European market, we are small enough to have problems and exposures like that. I know about some issues, but every one of them has been resolved in a nice way.
Just one thing to add what Esther said, that just imagine that after 20 years when these destroyed and used PV collectors will be put together, and what will happen to them? What will happen to this kind of waste, and who will manage it? It will be like a new effect of the PVs. Can we use it again? There will be a technology for it. So I think these are still open questions, because right now everybody sees that, oh, it's 100% renewable, it's very good. But the questions comes after 10 or 15 years. And you know that the problems we do not solve it today, it will be a very huge problem tomorrow.
And my question would be to this: does anybody working on this? I don't know. I really don't know. We tried to ask the ones who are producing it. They didn't really answer this question. They said that it's not my problem. I don't see anybody who would work on this problem. What do we do with all those lithium things that we put on the rooftops?
I think especially the recycling of like the batteries in terms of like the solar panels. I think it's a technology that, in terms of, it's not that hard, but I see the wind as the most difficult one in terms of recycling, especially due to the composites that are in the wind. But I think there are some companies, but I think also personal opinion, sometimes it's just a question thinking on the whole life cycle in terms of sustainability. We usually don't think so because the market is asking for it, so we just put in the market, and then when it gets to the end of life, we think about it later. But I think in terms of the PVs, there is opportunity for that market of the recycling of this.
Actually, I'm very happy to hear, because if we just talk about the plastic bags and all these kind of things, nobody is taking care of them. And I have the very same fear about all these lithium things. And the other thing, the whole battery market is expanding and developing so fast that what technology we are using today, in 20 years, it will be nowhere. So, yeah.
I had a question about energy security. So I think Hungary is dependent upon imports in certain percentages from other countries. That can be a very immediate problem in the case of a geopolitical situation where imports can be stopped or something can happen. What is the solution for that case? Indigenization, or what are other options present?
It's a complex question. First of all, that yes, it's really not only a geopolitical but an economical problem for Hungary, because unfortunately we do not have any sea coast, so we don't have any possibility to build an LNG terminal. So of course we can book capacities abroad and offtake natural gas at that port and transfer it to Hungary. It's not the cheapest way, because the pipeline infrastructure currently exists. We invested a lot, not only Hungary, but all the region from Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Austria, also in this infrastructure. And it would be a wasted money. But the problem is that we can use it right now only for the Russian gas. And somehow we find the balance between the change in the geopolitics and the business rationality.
As you know, just some addition, as you know, that at the end of the year, the Ukrainian-Russian transit contract expires. And also between the two TSOs and also the commercial contract expires. And by now, there is no solution for that. In Hungary, this is not an energy supply or a supply security question, because this is mainly supply security question in Slovakia and Austria. They are fine for the winter because the storages are kind of filled up, same in Hungary. Hungary has the biggest risk towards the Turk Stream that's coming from Serbia. Currently, nobody's political or geopolitical interest to stop that flow. Therefore, it's running. It can change, but currently the geopolitical risk is limited towards those deliveries.
To me, my turn? Yes. Thank you. Sorry, just one comment first, just on the solar recycling. So I know you're not able to recycle the solar panels due to the purity required generally.
Usually the glass can be recycled.
Microphone.
Sorry, you said the glass can be recycled. So I agree there are parts being recycled, but... Okay.
Probably we can discuss.
Sorry, my question was on geothermal, I think. So you said that the solar PV market is kind of self-cannibalizing. How will the market work with geothermal if you roll that out in Hungary? That's going to be the market mechanism and the impact on other sources of energy.
Geothermal is the only potential we have in Hungary. Not as much as the PV, but we can say it's much higher than the other countries in the EU. Unfortunately, the investment in this field is much higher than in PV. So right now, I think only 5, maximum 10 companies working on these fields. I mean, drilling and making this available for customers. And the part of the mix is 1% or less. So it's, honestly speaking, it's really nothing.
Hey, so my question is, we've talked about negative electricity prices due to solar, too much solar. We've talked about time of use rates and demand response programs. What are your thoughts on decentralized energy storage or used as virtual power plants, for example?
Energy storages will be one of the key market players in the next few years. So if I were a rich man, I would invest a lot in it because I think this niche when the next 5-10 years it will be really a gold mine.
Do you know how countries with high mountains store electricity? They pump water up into lakes when there is a lot of electricity and they let it come down when there is not enough. And there is one project in Switzerland. What they are doing, they have huge concrete blocks and they are actually lifting them when there is a lot of power and they are letting them down where is not enough. There is you can I mean Google it, you will find it. There is one project in Switzerland. We don't really have good ways to store electricity. Batteries will come, but still technology is not good enough to provide it on a long term. But it's developing very quickly. So I think there is a future. And if we are talking about, because what's the problem today? That there are periods of time where there is a lot of electricity, and there are periods when there is kind of none. How we can put demand and actually supply has to equal every kind of millisecond. How we can change this? Either we store electricity, very difficult technology, or we change consumer habits. And we actually consume electricity when there is a lot. And I think still today, if we are looking for low-hanging fruits, this is still a lower-hanging fruits than storage. Storage will come, but I think later.
Well, just a follow-up question on storage, because I would like to mention the Italian case. So Italy now is developing a subsidy mechanism for storage. And of course, whenever a country decides to implement a subsidy mechanism, it needs to be approved by the European Commission, by the DG Competition, because it's about public money being used to support these technologies. And I was wondering, do you think that we will need, or for the Hungarian case, we will need subsidies for storage, or do you expect storage to be developed to the rate is required by the market?
Currently, the simple business case for energy storage for the current market circumstances, it's 50-50. The problem is the simple arbitrage when you buy electricity power during the negative or cheap hours, and you sell it during midnight when the prices are higher, does not make reliable a simple business case. You have to combine the AFRR possibilities with this arbitration effect. The problem is when you offer this AFRR possibility for a TSO, you cannot use for arbitrage, and vice versa. And it's really a problem. What really works when you have an energy battery and you pack it together with other possibilities, PVs, gas-fired plants, and you sold it as a package on the market or to the TSO. And it makes sense. But a standalone business case for an energy battery, it's 50-50.
Yeah, hi, thanks. I guess thanks and well done so far for fielding all these technical questions. My question is not technical at all. I feel like there's a lot of gloom in the room and we are being realistic. But I'd like to ask from your individual companies and your individual strategies, so for MVM and MET, what's one thing you're excited about? So when you think about the future of the European energy markets or the wider energy transition, what's one opportunity that excites you that you think your individual companies are placed, in a good position to take advantage of them? And then a flip to that, we've discussed many challenges, what's one that keeps you up late at night? And if you had the power to push a button, what's one lever that you would push to maybe remove the biggest hurdle your individual companies would face in achieving your strategy and targets?
I love this.
Where is that button?
Yeah, where is that button? For the first part, I think you will know my answer because I talked so much about it. It's about the demand side management, because I do believe that this is a big opportunity for us where we can be a leader and we can actually influence also stakeholders, policymakers, and we will be able to help and support our partners, our customers in this case. So we are working on several products where we would like to provide solutions for this question.
I'll tell you a story. Around 2000, I used to be a trader. And one time, 3 of my colleagues stood up and said, sorry, we leave the company and we make our own business. What will your own business? Internet. Oh. That time, internet was not a commercial. There was no commercial action on it. There were several papers, but it was not newspapers, it was news portals, but not that kind of news portals that you read nowadays. It was a kind of shit. And they said, we want to do something regarding business portal. Business portal, come on, man. And they established the first business portal of Hungary, and right now they are a rich person, of course, and they are very successful. But that time I didn't believe that it make any sense to move the business on the internet. So I'm not the right person who will say where is the right button, and it is red or blue, you can push it. But in my personal life, the biggest phenomena is the regional expansion. So honestly, we as a state-owned utility company want to move abroad and make a regional business. That is the main trigger for us.
I would add one more thing. I have to admit that I do believe that energy companies, digitalization-wise, are living in a stone age. Not really any further. And we would like to change that. And we would like to digitalize part of our activities.
That's my job. We can talk after this. That's literally what I do.
Well, one more story. Of course, we are growing and hunting for young talents. And finding a risk manager, it's impossible. Nobody's interested in risk managing. We offered junior data analyst, junior data scientist, and during 2 days we released more than 100 CVs. That is the difference.
So my technical team tells me that we have 3 minutes. So maybe just would be very difficult to ask a better question than yours, but I mean, let's just maybe link it to the forum. Okay, we are at the European Energy Forum. We have 50 participants from all over Europe and beyond. We have work on proposals. Some proposals are also on demand response, how to include consumers and citizens in this transition. But the question to you would be, in terms of support for young people within your company, do you have any program, any strategies inside and also outside your company? And if you don't have any, you're welcome to talk with us. We can help you. But yeah, just do you have any strategy or any program for young people inside or outside of your company?
We do believe in this. I think I'm just thinking and counting. Out of the 20, how we started, I think 19 of us still with the company since 2008. We really do believe to hire young talents and actually teach them within the company and let them grow, expand, and take responsibility. I love to believe that this is part of our genetics. We started a program. We haven't hired yet, but we would like to start with 3, 4, maximum 5 juniors, and we would like to rotate them within the company and give them the opportunity to change and experience and try themselves in different roles. This is what we would like to start in 2025. We almost started this in 2024. We found 4 actually friends. They were working on different business cases in the university, and they were going together for different competitions and winning them. In the end, they decided to go separately abroad. So in the end, we didn't start this program this year, but we would like to start it next year. So yes.
Education, education, education. That is the 3 answers I can give. And we work a lot with universities, and we invest a lot in this kind of relationship, because on the other hand, we can give information, practices, everything we can, and we receive counterback the possibility that we can reach the young talents. But not from this business perspective, but our mission is to invest in education. Just one story, that if you remember back 30 years ago, for example, an average Hungarian citizen had only 1 bank account. Right now, if you can manage a portfolio, investment funds, equities, bonds, it's common. But it took 20, 30 years to make everybody understood how this
works. I mean, what does it mean a bond? What does it mean a hedge fund? What does it mean an investment fund? So it was an education process, and I think the similar will happen in the energy sector.
That's all, folks. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the discussion. Yeah, and thank you for the support. Next year, this forum will take place again. The ideal location will be south of Italy. So we would love to.
We go.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Thank you for the invitation.
Team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we're back to Belen. Thank you.
Thank you to the amazing panelists. I think we got some really great questions as well. Love the engagement here. Now we're going to go straight into our next session. It's going to be on energy and climate initiatives at the municipality of Budapest. So I think it's really great that we will hear some concrete examples from the beautiful city that is hosting us. So I would like to welcome on stage, but you're already on stage, so great. Ada Amon, who is the head of the Climate Agency Budapest. So.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm trying to install. So you are the lucky one who won the prize of being in a dark room in a sunny day in October. Yes.
It works. But do you prefer this one or?
Right, that's fine. Yeah. I think I'm going to stay here. Yeah. All right, so as far as I can tell, you are very well educated on energy, drawing this from the questions you raised in the earlier panel. And as far as I learned, you are going to work on city solutions, right? In here. So I brought you some very tangible examples we are doing in Budapest. And I used to be the head of Department for Climate and Environment in the city, which was the first department dealing with these issues since, and it was established only in 2019, sorry. So shame on Budapest so far that this topic didn't come up. Budapest used to have a climate strategy and, you know, sustainable energy and climate action plan, which is a must already in most of the cities in Europe. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a very new thing, and since I'm very proud that we managed to bring up and build up a team of 35 people in the last couple of years dealing with this issue. And having said that, probably this is the biggest in the Central Eastern European region dealing with the city climate and environment problem. So I just, you know, brought you a couple of ideas and issues, and I would like to ask you, Belen, to wave at 15 minutes or something, okay? Thank you. Okay, so the cities in decarbonization is the role of cities are eminent and very striking, since in Europe more than or around 70% of the people live in cities already. So emissions from the cities are huge. It doesn't mean that we have a historical responsibility whatsoever in cities, but now we have a responsibility to diminish it and to minimize it, obviously. And the good news is that it's not an easy job, but it's a very good job in doing that in a very dense environment. And if we are talking about this particular city, Budapest is contributing to the greenhouse gas emission of Hungary by around 16–18%, which equals to the biggest Hungarian power station, which is the Matra power station, and so it's a huge amount of CO2 what we are emitting. Obviously, 2 million people live here, 3 million people use the infrastructure every working day. They are commuting into Budapest and producing 38% of GDP. So it's a big city, and it is the biggest city in Central Eastern Europe, the 9th biggest city in the European Union, by the way. And at the same time, climate change is hitting cities much more than villages, probably. Or the density of the people and this confusing and stressing environment is not really good for people, especially in heat waves or in huge flash floods or something like that. And energy as such is something, so there is a huge resource flow within the cities. This logistic already is a very stunning issue, how to manage that flow, how to manage the flow of people, how to manage the flow of vehicles and resources and feed that many people at a time. So actually recognizing the issues and recognizing the responsibilities which are not tightly and directly tied to a municipality, the Budapest City Hall and the leadership of the city decided to establish the Budapest Climate Agency. And as you might know, Budapest is also part of the 100 Climate Neutral and Intelligent City mission, which was brought into life by the European Commission and supported by the Net Zero Cities Consortia. As far as I know, you are talking about 6 different themes, and I'd like to touch upon here and there on some of those. Well, first of all, the Climate Agency was basically... why are you laughing? You like this?
Group 1 and 3 are said.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will touch upon the 1 and 3 later. That's what I'm trying to say here. All right, so this is the climate or the GHG or CO2 emission of Budapest, and as you can see, 60% are coming from the buildings, and 35% is coming from residential buildings, and that, therefore, the Climate Agency was basically came into life to deal and tackle this issue, which is not a municipal problem. Providing heat is partly a municipal problem because we have a district heating company, which would need some geothermal input, actually, and the problem is that the Hungarian government is really lazy permitting the right to do so. But basically, the 36% of this emission is really out of scope for a municipality. We usually don't provide electricity. We used to provide natural gas, but but it's the utility structure and the utility ownership is really not on our side in this. Obviously, the commercial buildings are another big bulk, like stores and some other industrial buildings. And only those 2%, which is municipality-owned institutions, are somehow under the competence of Budapest. And there are two other emission sources: the public transportation, which is 2%, the blue one, and another 1%, which is the public lighting and some miscellaneous input or emission. So this is just to give you an idea of how a city is, and probably it's very similar to other cities as well. So dealing with the buildings, the household buildings, we are trying to figure out a new way of supporting energy efficiency retrofits. By the way, it would need about 10 billion euro worth of money just refurbishing the Budapest-based residential buildings. It equals to the aforementioned POX 2 nuclear power plant investment. So just to see the weight of the problem here. And now, well, 10 billion euros is about 4,000 billion Hungarian forint. And now I'm talking about a very tiny little scheme, what we are going to put together from our own money. It's going to be 16 billion compared to 4,000 billion. Okay, so we can't, I mean, the volume of the problem is probably very difficult to see. But nevertheless, a huge trip starts with one first step. So we are trying to put together a scheme which would work for a larger scale. So the capital city, Budapest, and the districts put together 1 forint each. And so we create a 5 billion forint state or a fund which can give grant to the people. Now we try and start with prefabricated buildings, and it will come out something like 15-16 billion euro Hungarian forint, and it will mean something like 30 buildings probably in all over the city. But we can create a momentum, we can create an example, and we can show our devotion to that issue, and probably even the government would soften their hearts and give some money to Budapest after all. But, you know, it's another political issue. I'm ready to talk about it after this session. Electricity. Electricity is a very important thing. Every energy wants to be electricity nowadays, right? So we need to provide green electricity. Oh my God. If you see the map of Hungary from the demand of electricity, you see that chart, basically. And this is not Burj Khalifa, but this is the electricity demand in Budapest. So basically every fifth, sometimes every fourth electron is trying to get to Budapest from the whole country. And therefore, we figured that there is a way to generate power in a city as well. So there is a huge potential on the roofs of the houses. And so we have a map where the potential lies, or not lies, but sticking out to the air or to the sky. And so if you click on this, you would know how much, what is the space you can use for that, and whether or not it would be an economical investment. Obviously, it's not economical, as we heard now, but it's not economical, basically, because the Hungarian government cut back the prices, what you can earn, or the retail, or the price what you can get from generating power on your own house, which is the household size solar energy power plant. But we are not just doing this solar map for the citizens to inform them about their capabilities and potentials, but also to get a sense of how much energy can be produced in Budapest. And I tell you that in the next summer, it will be needed in some way or the other, because this summer showed to people, even those who swear to God that they won't have air conditioning in their home in the past, now they are installing it. So the demand is going to be much higher than you saw it on the map earlier. The solar map is good for one more thing. You know, chief architects are the main enemies of solar power, especially in cities. So what we can do is that we can tell to district chief architects from which point they can see the solar, the roofs, so they can permit much easier on the longer term this. Okay. Well, electricity mobility or electromobility is another important issue, obviously. Just another figure, more than half of the e-mobility vehicles are registered in Budapest at the moment from Hungary. So the infrastructure for this particular mobility type is very much needed. Therefore, Budapest, together with lots of different cities from Europe, is working on a way of developing infrastructure for that. And we are trying to figure out, together with the BKK, the Budapest Transport for Budapest, the analog to the London Transport for London, they are putting together a map of how to work out the mobility points and the different hierarchy of mobility points. I don't know whether you have heard about this issue before, but there are different ways of you know, it's a very technical issue, how to design cities according to the needs of the people, to make sure that you have charging points where usually people go and want to leave their cars for another how to say, half an hour, and then by the time the battery will be charged adequately enough. And obviously, it's not just an issue for how to say, mobility, but also it is an educational issue. We need to slow down traffic. Actually, today is the first day of introduction of a slower pace of the traffic in some areas in the city because we have installed a new traffic box system. I don't know, it's like a speed limit, and we hope that by that we can not just create a more livable city, but more people who stay alive also in the city. So because the faster you are with the car, the more, yeah, you know. Right, and just to say that this is a chart which shows how we would like to squeeze individual transportation and mobility in the city, and how we would like to introduce much more shared services in city, and how to expand the infrastructure for walking and cycling at the same time. And as you can see, public transportation is going to be the main issue. And in order to attract people to get on the tram and get on the buses, they need to be clean, they need to be on time, they need to be comfortable. So whatever a city can do for their people to become climate friendly is to support and provide services which are climate friendly and which makes people to click and to change to the climate friendly services and to the climate friendly way of living. So yes, it's just one thing, and the last thing is really the citizens' assemblies and all the engagement and public participation we are introducing in the last 5 years. I personally took part in the organization of 2 citizens' assemblies, never more, I swear. It's a very tiring but I encourage you to do so because it's fun at the end, but it's very tiresome in the middle. And
you could join AF next year. It's much more fun.
Sorry?
You could join AF next year. It's much more fun.
Invite me more, okay? I come. Yeah. So, but these two citizens' assemblies were very educational, also for the organizers and also for the people who took part, because they probably changed their way of thinking about the city over those 2 weekends when they were taking part of this joint thinking sessions and roundtable discussions and all those. So people who came by car for the first weekend, they left their cars at home, and a lot of those people became city developers by the end of those sessions, and and that was the end, and yeah.
Thank you very much, Ada. And we have 5 minutes for questions, so I would encourage you to be bold and ask your... Oh, perfect. You raised it first. So the gentleman on the second row, please.
So my name is Asfandyar, and I had a question about smart cities. Are there any programs of implementing a smart city program in Budapest? And my second was about how can we reduce resistance towards renewables in a society?
How can you what?
The second question was about the resistance towards the implementation of renewables in cities, as these are new technologies which are being implemented. Not all factions of the society may be accepting of these new implementations. Okay.
Well, first of all, there is not much renewable implementations in the city, but we asked the people in Budapest about their attitude towards solar panel, for example. and whether or not they would like to see solar panels on the roofs, and they said yes. 98% of the people are happy about it. The rest are the chief architects in the city, as far as I can tell. The other thing is, please define smart cities to me. I mean, obviously, a city is just as smart as, you know, the people are in the city. And obviously, we have a very up-to-date, you know, Budapest Go, and you click in and you know when the tram comes and how much it would be to get from here to there. But really, and we have a very well-elaborated lighting, what is this, you know, the street lighting is not the street lighting, the public lighting, but the street lighting, which is letting people, the transportation flow. We work together with Google to optimize a lot of these things. So in the transportation, it is very smart. I would love to have smarter, but yes, you can introduce as many smart things as people would allow you to introduce or the people would use. This is one thing. The other thing is, there was mentioning of you know, pricing, energy pricing. We cannot introduce energy pricing, though whenever a blackout will happen, who will be the one in Budapest to blame? The mayor, obviously, though there is nothing to do with the mayor in terms of electricity. But I would love to be able to introduce things, but there is no competency on the city level to introduce a lot of smart things. Okay?
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So I was wondering about the difficulties of improving the sustainability of the city, because yesterday we seen Paris as a great example when the highway along the riverbank was given to the pedestrians, and a few years ago it was a big discussion in Budapest as well. And yeah, just how these public discussions go and how people react to such changes.
Well, it is interesting because there should be some bold people, just like Anne Hidalgo is a very bold politician, I guess, and she created a lot of controversies in her city. I guess we are usually talking about infrastructure when we are making a big change. See, you give one lane to bicycles rather than letting cars go on it. And the next day, you want to see thousands of bicycles on the lane. But it's not going to happen. I mean, people have to get used to, you know, to invade or to accommodate themselves in the city on that particular infrastructure. So it takes time, and obviously it takes discussions and considerations, and we need to talk to people about it and use the right argumentation to sell that, as well as you can sell electricity or natural gas. You have to sell all those decisions in a very smart way.
Thank you very much again, Ada. I will. Oh,
check it out.
IT? Yes, take it out.
Take it out.
Okay, we have the approval of IT. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again, Ada. I think it was really great to have a local perspective, and I think we should really be grateful because Ada took the time to, you know, have a look at. I have at least she tailored the presentation to each of the topics of your proposal. So I really hope you gain some new knowledge and that you can implement it in the workshop that you're going to have very soon. But before that, we're going to have a coffee break. It's going to end at 3:45. Please go directly onto your group tables. But it's not going to be implementation workshop. We're going to go directly into World Cafe. So we have shared already your group allocations. If you lost the information, please take a photo or have a look at which group you have been allocated, okay?